All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Houston Rockets Daily. Before we get into this video, I do want to apologize for, I don't think I posted a video on this channel in like 3 days. Food poisoning like 2 days ago, and it's also finals week, or technically next week's finals week, so I was down bad. I did post a recap video on my main channel if you guys want to check that out on Will Upton, but welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope you're having a great day. I know I sure am. No matter what happened in the outside world, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, how about them Houston Rockets, though? You know what I'm saying? 8-16. They've won 7 straight basketball games, and they just took down the Brooklyn Nets last night. Now, I don't even want to hear it. No Kevin Durant. I don't even want to hear it. Go comment that on a Nets channel. That win last night was so impressive. It was so impressive. James Harden, 14 of his 26 points were at the free throw line. He shot, what we have his stats. He went 3 of 14 from down, 3 of 12 from downtown, 4 of 16 from the field. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I tweeted out like a couple of, right after the Pelicans win, I was like, I am 100% certain. This was before KD was announced out. I tweeted out, I'm 100% certain that the Rockets will beat the Nets on Wednesday night because of James Harden. I still, and you know, trust me, I have a ton of respect for James Harden. I still have love for James Harden, but if you guys have been following me for a while, you know, I'm a little hard on him because the way he left Houston was completely disrespectful, and I think it was really childish, to be quite honest with you. But you know, you got to put some context into the situation. But even when you put in some context into the situation, you could go back to a couple of circumstances where it was like, you know, but no harm is, like, there's no harm. Like, right now, nothing but love, nothing but respect. I'm rooting for James Harden. But, man, when he's playing the Houston Rockets, I'm going to go ahead. Because this man does not show up for big-time games. I will go ahead and say it. If you want to prove me wrong, try and do it. James Harden does not show up in big-time games for the most part. How about that? For the most part. Now, you could tell me, hey, you know, it's December 8th. That's not a big-time game? Well, I'll tell you why it's a big-time game. He's home. He's back home, or I guess it's not his home anymore, but this was his home for most of his NBA career. And I mean, you see it with Jason Tatum. When Jason Tatum plays the Los Angeles Lakers, who passed on him with the second pick in the draft a couple of years ago, he goes off against that team. That's what James Harden is thinking. You think James Harden is trying to go, yeah, you look at his stats without digging deep and watching the game, you're like, James Harden didn't play that bad. Maybe he just didn't have a great shooting night. I think James Harden played pretty bad, and a huge reason was Josh Christopher's defense. And apparently Rafael Stone had a conversation with him. I don't know if it was before the game. I think it was like a couple weeks before, because he was basically trying to get him, it seemed like he was trying to get Josh Christopher ready, like, we're going to be calling your name. And it seems like that's why he was down in the G League, is just so that he can, because the Rockets were on a huge losing streak, keep that in mind. Call down Josh Christopher because they know they're going to want to rely on him in a couple of weeks. So you send him down to the G League, you get his confidence up, you get him feeling himself, and look at what happens. When you finally give Josh Christopher an opportunity, what did he play? 22 minutes last night, 23 minutes. Technically, 7 of 7 from the field, 4 of 4 from downtown. He had, 18 points, 2 steals. I mean, could you ask for a better birthday? You definitely can't. But just to add on to that, the defense he played on guys like James Harden, it was phenomenal. Heading into this season, I was not worried about Josh Christopher, but worried's the wrong word. I just didn't think he was going to get much of a run this season because of the surplus of guards that we had. I just felt like Steven Silas and the Rockets organization, if they're making signings like Daniel Tice, you still have Daniel House Jr., Eric Gordon, John Wall on the roster. I didn't think Josh Christopher was going to get more than like 25 minutes on any night for most of the season unless some injuries were to arise. So it's so great to see a late first-round pick being relied on. As Steven Silas alluded to after the game, he's like, we're asking so much of these 19-year-olds, and they're stepping up. Like, they want those. And you could tell before last night's game, you know, even just before the tip-off, like when they're announcing starting rosters, or the starting lineup, it was smiles galore. Like, even Steven Silas, man, that guy He's such a nerd sometimes. He looks like such a nerd. I love him. But this is one of the huge reasons why Steven Silas is useful as big-time games, right? Keep in mind, we didn't get Steven Silas after James Harden. We got him before James Harden. We got Steven Silas to try and win a championship because he was just coming off the most efficient NBA offense in the history in the Dallas Mavericks the year prior. So I love what I'm seeing right now, and I'm definitely switching the narrative. I think that the Houston Rockets should have never really been 1-16. A lot of it had to do with Daniel Tice. If I'm just going to be real, I don't think Daniel Tice at any point in his Rockets tenure has provided us with that much. You know, maybe a couple of possessions, you'll be like maybe late in the game, he'll have a nice defensive play, but offensively, I've never been like, thank God we have Daniel Tice in the starting lineup. Like, I've never said that. So I think Steven Silas, it took him way too goddamn long to figure that one out. But hey, it makes sense from their side. So last night, you had great performances from Josh Christopher. You had a phenomenal performance by Eric Gordon, who, especially right now in this, you know, even if he didn't have, what was the exact stat line, 21 points, 8 of 12, 2 of 4 from downtown. I mean, he's still shooting well over 40% from downtown. Games like, now that we're on this win streak, and now that we're actually beating good teams, because keep in mind, I mean, you know, what was it, Pelicans, Thunder twice, Magic. I know they're not easy wins necessarily. You know, maybe a non-Rockets fan would be like, these were easy wins. But, you know, no win in the NBA is easy. We beat the Bulls, we beat the Hornets, and now you beat the Brooklyn Nets, and now the Rockets are starting to get some media attention. And now Eric Gordon's starting to get some attention. So Eric Gordon's trade value right now is probably, it's probably exactly where it should be. And as long as Eric Gordon can, oh my God, this is the most important part. If he can stay healthy, he will either be useful for the next 2 seasons for the Houston Rockets, because his last year isn't guaranteed. So he'd be, you know, what's he right now, 30. So he'd be 34 and a half at the end of his Rockets tenure, which is really freaking pushing it in my opinion. But hey, if Eric Gordon's going to be playing defense like that, he's going to be coming up in the clutch like that, you know, maybe, yeah, I still want to trade him, but, you know, I feel like you kind of get where I'm going at. Like, if he were to drop 21 off the bench every single night, you know, and the Rockets are continuously winning, I mean, it's kind of hard to not enjoy that. But long term, I'm still looking for the departure of Eric Gordon. But last night, I mean, when that day comes, it's going to be really sad, because we're going to remember times like this, and even a couple of nights ago where he had the game winner for the Rockets. So he did almost kind of like fumble the bag there at the end of the game. He got ejected. He got wrongfully ejected, really. I mean, the ball should have been Rockets' ball, if we're being real here. But man, Eric Gordon, great game. Garrison Matthews, 19 points for him. Armani Brooks had a really solid game. Christian Wood, you know, 12 and 15. He had an off night, but they're just becoming pretty consistent. So I just like to see more consistency. God, I got an itch right here. But really, Garrison Matthews. I mean, give him max. Give him a contract at the very least. But I think Garrison Matthews is, like, even around the league, he's getting noticed right now, and it's just so cool. Like, this Rockets win streak, there's a whole season to tank, guys. So I don't want to see anything like we're going to lose out on Chet and Paolo. No. We're going to be just fine. Worst case scenario, I'm thinking like top 7 pick, which would be totally okay with the amount of draft packages that they could provide other teams. This Rockets team's looking really good right now. So that's it for today, guys. And I might make another video. I'm probably going to make another video later tonight. But drop some video ideas if you want me to make a video on anything specific down below. Most importantly, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and it's getting closer. But we are getting closer, too. So appreciate it. Peace.